Good evening, folks. This tutorial is going to be just a quick briefing on what to do if you have got split subjects. In other words, what I'm talking about is in reference to your formula sheet, um, where I've made things like this. So if on your report, let's say arts, well, let's work with social science for now. If social science is split on the report, and these will be the formula used, and I'm just going to show you how you're going to organize it in terms of your mark sheets. Um, so alright, so obviously if they're not split, that's the formula you use, and you'll be entering all the marks for geography and history on the same mark sheet. Um, but if they are split, and I'll show you exactly what I mean by that, split on the report now, um, then you would simply, each teacher would have their own mark book, mark sheet should I say, and be entering in their column only, even though they can actually see the other column, and I'll show you why that is. Okay, so this is what I mean by that. If we go to the reports, okay, if you look at an example of a grade 7 report here where the SS is split, okay, so you see here we've got social science, and on this particular report they show history and geography. Okay, likewise art and drama at the bottom, and in the case of life orientation, life and physical education. So excuse me, you'll have to excuse me, I've got a little bit of a cold as well, but couldn't wait until my cold subsided in order to get the tutorial done, as time is precious. So right, so assuming you've generated your mark sheets, the teachers have got their mark sheets, we've been through all those tutorials, and you are sitting with the geography teacher who's got their mark sheet, and the history teacher which has got their mark sheet. Okay, so the geography teacher would be would open their mark sheet quite simply, and in this case it is the geography teacher who therefore, as I say, only captures in their column. Okay, they don't capture in the history column, um, and so they put their marks in. Okay, let's say and something else there. Alright, and again, as I say, this mark calculation now really is only showing quite simply the percentage mark that the learner has received for geography, and this is the simplest of simple formulas. Is the formula that you would always use to work out a percentage. You quite simply say equals the mark divided by the total of the test and multiplied by 100. Okay, now obviously we want to keep the the block over here, we want to keep it referencing E7. Okay, we don't, when we copy and paste the formula down, we don't want that E7 block to jump down to E8, and I'll show you what I mean. Alright, so if I click paste, you see it doesn't like that. Okay, and that is because you can see I've copied and pasted down. It's jumped down to the next mark, but then it's also jumped down from that 50 to the next block. So what you in actual fact have to do is tell it to hold itself. Okay, so all you do is you put a $sign in front of the 7. In other words, you're saying don't move from row 7, stay where you are. Okay, and now if I copy and paste, okay, now you'll see the formula has adjusted itself in terms of the fact that it's moved down to the next mark, but it has stayed looking at the total. Okay, now you might obviously be wondering to say, okay, well, history and geography are equally weighted. I'm sending only a geography mark through off this mark sheet, telling it to go to the term 1 column in front office, And the neat part is that, let's close that and save it. Alright, the neat part is that in front office, all you have to do quite simply for geography and history, okay, geography and history, there they are there. For phase 3 is you make the ag factor 0.5 and 0.5. So each mark comes through as a full percentage mark from the mark book, and they are factored back to their mark book weighting of equal standing 0.5, 0.5. So that would obviously include any situation where you even decided to add columns using your mark profiles in SAMS, which is a tutorial I'm going to introduce next. In terms of those folks who want to add more columns and more tests for each of their subjects, again, it wouldn't matter because whatever mark you bring through for history and geography will be weighted to their even components. And in this case, this particular school doesn't split history and geography for phase 2. Okay, they simply have a social science mark. I beg your pardon, they actually do split. We can see this in the set classes table. 6. Let's see, yeah, geography and history, they do split. So in this actual fact, they would need to change those ag factors for phase 2 also to 0.5, 0.5. And you can actually tell what's going on looking at the splits if you've set them up in years gone by. For instance, in this particular school, in the phase 3 section, so grade 7 for them, physical education is 0.3, life orientation is 0.7. They together combine a mark for a total subject of called life orientation as well. And if you were to look at, say, music, they do, art and drama in that phase, and they're also weighted 0.5. If you look at the ag factor for phase 2, you can see that, so it's for life skills, alright, so they're called, you can see all the life skills scores, alright. For phase 2, the life skills are split into personal and social well-being, physical education, and then creative arts, which can be further split into art, music, and drama. So you could have PSW, a subject called that, physical education, and a subject just called creative arts, and that would be weighted 0.4. Okay, but if you in fact do split creative arts on the report into its further components, which is art, music, and drama, then the remaining 0.4, remembering that a learning area must total, in other words, LS must total 1, okay, so the learning area is then art is 0.2, is half of the remaining 0.4, and music is 0.1, so that's a quarter of the remaining 0.4, and again the other quarter of the remaining 0.4 goes to drama, and that totals up 1, or if you like 100% of the LS mark. So I'm quickly just going to take you to the import screen so we can import the marks. Let's go and add the history marks, sorry, for the history teacher as that component, for that component of SS. So we open the history for 7SA in this case. Okay, and so in this case this is the history teacher, so we'll not be capturing in the geography column, we're capturing only in the history column. So let's add some scores there. Okay, and again the formula follows the exact same principle. The mark that they received, okay, divided by the total of the test, multiplied by 100, and that's the simplest way of working out a percentage. And then of course, as we explained before, you want the mark out of to be held when you copy and paste the formula down, so you quite simply put a $ in front of the 7, okay, and you copy and paste that formula. You would paste it all the way down. Okay, and that gives you your percentage. Don't forget to put the 1 above the column to tell it to export to term 1. Close and save. Right, then this part has been covered in previous tutorials, so I won't take you through it again, but essentially you are importing your mark sheets, clicking split, task activities, post to front office. Whenever you do import marks, you always go through those 3 processes, and then you do a mark sync in SAMS, a mark sync between front office and SAM. Okay, that was done, and then as I say, you do update now, and then all you need to do is click SAMS true mark sync to synchronize the marks between the 2 systems. Okay, then you can see quite simply on the, oh sorry, that's not, don't open one of the learners from that report, and you can see the history. Okay, in this particular report they convert the marks straight into the rating codes. They don't actually show the percentage on the report. It's what you would call an interim report, but as you can see, the marks have come through. Now there is actually a query that we use, a record set behind front office behind the scenes in front office to aggregate the marks in terms of learning areas where there's been separate subjects. So for instance, there's this column called SS Tot. This is the mark that we would reference on the report for if there was a total showing. When you see in that particular report, it only showed the amounts for the 2 splits. It didn't show the actual total for SS, but we can go to SAMS and see that total corresponds. Okay, so we go quite simply to Social Sciences, Term 1, and you can see that particular learner there, the term total is for 77 in SAM, so that mark is corresponding. What I'm going to do is I'm quickly going to run through an example of life skills where there's, as I showed you from the subjects table, there can be a far more in-depth split, but as I've shown you, but we can race through that a little quicker in terms of mark capture and explanation, as I've given most of the explanation in the first segment of this tutorial, and that will be in part 2 of this tutorial. That concludes part 1. Part 2, as I say, will be with regards to the life skills splits, splitting into PSW, PE, and creative arts, and further splitting creative arts into art, music, and drama. Thank you. Bye.